Hang out with me for a few days while I read some highly anticipated new releases. She says, I hate you. And he says, hate me harder. She might be a psychopath. Like, but I'm obsessed. I can't put it down. I don't think I like books where like things are just happening to the characters. I like when the characters are making things happen. She says to him, she goes, you're nicer when you're dying. You should do it more often. I am obsessed right now with like controversial, unlikable main characters. Here's the thing. I'm kind of an idiot. Why did that give me goosebumps? Why are my standards so freaking low? I'm like panting, like on my knees, salivating. It really explains a lot. I'm having a really weird relationship with this book. You guys know I love filming in the car. 4-star, 5-star, 4-star, 4-star, 5-star, 4.75. I'm thriving. That's all, bye. Welcome back to Ask Me What I'm Reading. I'm Abby and I love when people ask me what I'm reading. I'm reading some highly anticipated new releases. Either they're ones that I've been waiting for them to be released or I've just heard a lot of buzz about them since they've been released and I'm so anxious to get on the bandwagon. Something about me, I love being a part of a cultural moment. I started Starside by Aster in a different vlog where I only read library books for a week and I am 50% in. But the first one I'm going to finish in this vlog, I believe, is going to be Into the Blue by Brodie. I've been listening to the audio and reading it here and there and somehow I'm 50% into it. I got over 20,000 steps yesterday, which is a lot for me. I was so sore and tired and I cleaned an Airbnb and so I listened to Into the Blue while I was cleaning the Airbnb and I actually finished it during that time. But I just got such a bad headache afterward and it never really went away. And so that's why I didn't update y'all last night. I have a video of me sitting in this Airbnb, folding towels, crying. I might insert it, I might not. My older sister does not like watching videos of me cry. But I do this weird thing where whenever I cry because of a book or a movie, I film myself. Because I just think it's funny. I also think it's so therapeutic to cry at a book or a movie because like, you kind of empty that like reservoir of like, you know, you just like get in a good cry, but it's not about your own life. So you can move on really quickly after. So just to me, it's like very therapeutic. And also I think it's funny how ridiculous I am and how I'll like cry over fictional characters. You guys know I love filming in the car. Into the Blue is a love story. It says that on the cover, which in my experience, when a book has to say a love story on the front cover, it's kind of more like a tragedy. I would say it's lit fic, kind of, because it follows this girl AJ from 2000 when she's 17 years old until 2017. And she is working at a video store, like kind of like a Blockbuster. She's upset because she likes playing soccer. She's very good. She's hoping to get a scholarship to Brown, but she broke her arm, so she's not able to play soccer. And she's like, okay, so what's the plan? Like, she's going into her senior year of high school and she's like, what's my future? This guy, Noah Drew, whose family is like Hollywood legacy, like his whole family is actors and people who work in Hollywood. He starts working at this video store with her, and long story short, his aunt, I think, great aunt, grandma, can't remember, she makes them a deal. They agree to do acting lessons with her for the summer, and so they just like immediately bond and they do a lot of like improv, and then he ghosts her, like disappears. Yeah, it is very sad. I did sob, but it's also so beautiful. And the whole story is, I believe, it's either third person limited or first person POV from AJ's perspective. AJ's full name is Ashley Jade, but she feels like that's a stripper name, so she goes by AJ or Age. You're in AJ's perspective. There's the shift in point of view towards the end of the book in mid-scene. AJ's mid-thought, and it stops and it switches POV for a little bit. That was crazy. And I still don't know if that was really like we truly got the other person's POV or if it's because she was in tune with them to where she like knew what they were thinking and feeling. Like, I just thought that was brilliant. Like mid-sentence, stops, switches POV. Genius. I also loved like how unique and original this plot was. Like, I didn't know a lot going into it, so I don't want to tell y'all a lot either because I think it's best to go into it not knowing much. I will say though that Julia Whalen narrates the audiobook and it is a masterclass in audiobook narration. Highly recommend. Like, I think that I wouldn't have rated it so highly if I had just done the physical read. Like, the audiobook really elevated my reading experience, and I did give it 5 stars. I did not realize how much it was going to go into, like, acting and improv and the rules of improv and how it works and how to practice improv with other people. But I found it fascinating. It was so cool. At the end, there's this play that AJ's a part of that they do for like 12 nights. The first part is scripted and the last part is improv. And so for 12 nights, the first part is the same, but the improv, they do a different ending to the play every night. And I thought that was so cool. We got to like see how most of them went and like how it was different and the choices that the actors made. It was brilliant. Brilliant. Y'all, I was listening to Starside today and I had to update y'all. She says, "I hate you," and he says, "Hate me harder." I'm done. I'm putty in this man's hands. He's so down bad, but he hides it. I've talked about Starside because I started it in a different vlog, which I'll link that vlog in this video description. I knew it ever since he broke his bar of soap in half for her. Also, sorry, I'm walking my dog and he's pulling my arm a little bit, so I'm gonna go, but I just had to say, she says, "I hate you," and he says, "Hate me harder." Dead. Y'all, you can probably see how sweaty I am because it's so freaking humid outside. It felt like I was swimming, not walking. But I had to say something really quickly before I shower and make dinner. She says to him, she goes, "You're nicer when you're dying. You should do it more often." Another thing I want to say is that I love when people give compliments as like double negatives. So instead of saying like, "You're significant to me," or "You're important to me," or "I care about you," he goes, "You're not insignificant." Why did that give me goosebumps? Why are my standards so freaking low that if someone says, "You're not insignificant," I'm like panting, like on my knees, salivating. And it really explains a lot. Hi, just wanted to let y'all know that after I finished Starside last night, I started Yesteryear by Caro, Burke. And I'm obsessed. I'm already 35% into it. I've been mostly doing audio, but I also have the physical from the library. I am obsessed right now with like controversial, unlikable main characters who are complex and you're not even necessarily like rooting for them. You're just obsessed with them. Natalie is such a unlikable, but like understandable, complex character. Like, she's a genius. She got a full scholarship to Harvard, but socially she's not all there, and the religious trauma and indoctrination is crazy. Every time she like drops an F-bomb and she's like, "Sorry God," and her thoughts and the interview questions interspersed throughout, and like the psychological element of like, is she time traveling? Is there magic? Or is there some experiment being done on her? Or is it reality television that they've set up to make her think that she's traveled back to the 1850s? She is such a morally gray, not great at all character. Like, I think she might be a psychopath. Like, but I'm obsessed. I can't put it down. Like, I'm gonna probably finish it super soon. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say is I finished Starside. I give it 4.75 stars. It was just like, it's basically a 5-star, but for some reason I didn't get like that 5-star feeling, so I just gave it 4.75 on Fable. Guys, I'm having such a good reading month. Like, last couple weeks it's been 4-star, 5-star, 4-star, 4-star, 5-star, 4.75. I'm thriving. I am 56% into Yesteryear. I can't put it down. I am having a really weird relationship with this book. I'm addicted to it, but I hate it. But I think I'm supposed to hate it. Like, I think the author wants to like incite conversation and debate and like make people think about things and like, what do you believe? I guess I should tell y'all what Yesteryear is about. Yesteryear is about Natalie. It's first person POV. You are in her head. Like, you're in her head. Like, you hear her swear in her head and then go, "Sorry God." And you hear all for like, because she's really like fake to the camera and to other people, but her internal monologue is like very dark and sinister, and you hear her like real thoughts about people and then what she like kind of like the facade she puts across. Anyways, all that to say, Natalie is a trad wife influencer. She and her husband Caleb have like 1 million kids. Just kidding, I think like 6. And they do like homestead life, and she has like a huge social media following, and she like films the whole family. She like makes sourdough bread, and the kids all dress a certain way, and her husband works out on the farm. But what people don't see on social media is they have several farm hands, and they have 2 different nannies, and they have another person who like homeschools the children, and they have all these modern appliances. It was like very religiously sinister, and the kids were forced to be on camera. Like, she's playing trad wife. She's basically pretending that like she's a trad wife, like living out on the farm. And then she wakes up and it's 1855, and she actually is living in the same house on the same property with the same husband and kids, but they're all a little different. Like, their eyes are different. There's like some differences in their names. Anyways, it's very interesting being inside of her head. She is not a likable character. She is not a good person, but she is very nuanced and interesting. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. Very sinister, definitely like psychological thriller. I think that's like, is that the genre? I'm gonna, before I talk to y'all again, I'm gonna Google like what is the genre of it, because I would say it's like psychological thriller, domestic thriller. Yeah, it's definitely giving thriller vibes. Sinister things are afoot. All right, I gotta go. Bye. Good morning. It is like 7:15 on Saturday morning, and apparently with my new routine where I wake up at like 5:15 or 5:30 on days I work in person, and like 6:15 or 6:30 on days I telework. This means even on the weekends, I'm up by 7. So I figured I'd have a slow morning, maybe do some Sudoku, start a new book. But first I want to talk to you about the book I finished last night, Yesteryear. I finished it last night around like 10 p.m. but I was so tired that I did not have the energy to update y'all. I have very complicated feelings about this book. It is a 5-star. Like, I just get a gut feeling it's a 5-star because for several reasons. One, it is a book that is going to stay with me for a very long time. Even this morning when I woke up and I was brushing my teeth and getting ready, and I was like thinking about it. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. It's very messy. I really feel like we got put in the mind of like Ruby Frankie. The main character is undeniably a terrible person. We just get put in her head and kind of see like how her mind works and her motivations, and I feel like it's like a character study in like what that kind of person would be like. It's also, I feel like, the perfect book for a book club. I'm never going to be a part of a book club because I'm a mood reader, and the moment you tell me I have to read something by a certain date, I'm not going to want to read it. But I feel like Caro Burke just like made it so meaty and chock full of conversation topics. The turkey baster, the ending. Here's the thing, I'm kind of an idiot, so I never see the ending coming. I had no idea, and I won't say anything because I've recommended this book to several people who I know will watch this video, but like, I just didn't, never in a million years would I have figured out what was going on. I was reading last night, I had like, I don't know, 40 pages left, 30 or 40 pages left. I had to put the book down and do a lap. I was like, what? I know a lot of people hate it, but I think a lot of people go into it thinking like, is this supposed to be funny? Am I supposed to like the main character? No. Like, this is like, I feel like a character study into someone who does truly terrible things. I was telling my friend last night, I think that the main character, Natalie, and I was like, can you remind me what the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath is? And so she even looked up the difference, and I think, I'm no psychologist, but I think Natalie might be a psychopath. By giving this book 5 stars, am I saying that like I approve of the things that happened in this book? No. I'm saying that the author is an incredible writer, and this is her debut novel. Claire Burke, you are a genius. You're a goddess sent from above. Brilliant, amazing writing style. It was engaging and addicting. I had to know what was going to happen. I couldn't put it down. When I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about it. I finished it and I'm still thinking about it. It is so full of controversial, messy topics to talk about. It just makes me think and wonder and be like, what do I believe about this? And what do I believe about this? I'm sorry for my sleepy voice, but it is currently 7 a.m. I figured y'all are probably tired of me giving you updates in my car, so I'll give you an update before I leave my apartment for work. A lot has changed since we last talked. I ended up reading about 100 pages in How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. It's a slasher rom-com about this girl named Jamie who goes to a speed dating event with her best friend Laurie. And there's 10 guys and 10 girls, and the girls sit down and the guys rotate. But then as they're about to start their last speed dating round of the evening, the lights go out and the guy across from Jamie had his, and it's high stakes, obviously. They're now trapped in this like nightclub kind of situation. All the doors to get out are locked, and before the speed dating event they had to turn in all their phones and electronic devices, and those have gone missing. They're not in the coat room anymore, and there's no way to get out. But the main character, Jamie, is actually writing her thesis on the correspondence or correlations between romance as a genre and horror as a genre, or like slashers in particular, especially in film. And so she's kind of like an aficionado, like a expert in how to survive a slasher. And so she has these 10 rules, and I'll put them up on the screen. They put them in the very beginning of the book, but she has these 10 rules of like how to survive a slasher. And people think she's silly and goofy because she names off all these movies and stuff, but she's actually very knowledgeable and intelligent. It's also like very funny and lighthearted, but at the same time, like, it's a slasher. So I don't know, it's like the perfect juxtaposition of high stakes, but then there's also levity and romance. I'm like 130 pages into that, which I think is about 50%. And then on Sunday morning I cleaned an Airbnb and started And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. I have previously read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison and enjoyed it a lot. In that book, Aiden, the main character, hosts a nighttime like romance hotline called Heartstrings. His best friend Jackson is the meteorologist for the radio station. So this book is about Jackson, who does the weather for the radio station, and then it's also about Delilah, who does the radio for the local news station, like television news station. They end up being required to team up and travel to this small town to cover a blizzard or like a snowstorm ahead of its arrival in Baltimore. They're very much so opposites attract, but they also have a lot in common. They both have absentee mothers in common, but they're opposites as far as like Jackson was forced to grow up very young, and so he's very type A, organized. He has custody of his younger twin sisters, so he was just forced to grow up very early. He has a lot of anxiety. He needs like control and structure and routine. Whereas Delilah, she was raised by her grandfather, and she is very smart and knowledgeable, but she also likes colorful things and to be silly and whimsical, and she struggles with people not taking her seriously because she also likes to be funny and whimsical and silly. And she's like, why can't I be both? I'm trying to be better about putting my phone away a good bit before I go to bed, so I'm going to film this clip and then put my phone up and read. I'm going to read a couple chapters in How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates by Shailee Thompson. I haven't really read since last time I talked to y'all, so I'm still on page 133. But I have listened to a good bit and I wanted to update y'all. I finished the audiobook for And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. I'm trying to decide between like a 3, 3.5, or 4-star rating. I really enjoyed it. I liked Jackson's character even when I was reading First Time Caller, the first book in the series. where he's just a side character, because I love like a nerdy, anxious meteorologist who, anytime he had to cover for Aiden, who hosted like the late night romance hotline, anytime he had to like get on the mic, he would talk about like weather patterns and science and like just ramble, and he was like just an anxious boy. Well, I love him. He has custody of his twin sisters who are 15. His mom is very absent, and she gave him custody of the girls and just kind of like drops in and out of their lives and isn't consistent. So he just had to grow up really young and is very type A, high strung, because he kind of had to be, because he knew his mom wasn't going to make sure he got to where he needed to go. And so he had to make sure everything was handled and taken care of. And then on the other side, we have Delilah, who also had an absent mom. So she was raised by her grandfather. She felt like very manic pixie dream girl. She like likes hot pink and is always eating candy and tripping over stuff and is a free spirit, but she's also super smart. And like, we get the, does this person really have feelings for me, or is it just because we're in this like secluded, cozy space together, and is this gonna end when we go back into our real lives situation? I don't want to give away too much, because apparently I give a lot of spoilers when I talk about books. I really enjoyed it. Jackson, he's the shit. He's just amazing. I mean, single dad to 2 teenage girls, and is so consistent and dependable and just a solid person. Anyways, everything twerks itself out and had a cutie ending. I'm excited for the next one in the series. I'd like to own all of them. They have gorgeous covers. I don't think I would give it more than 4 stars, just because I felt that the 2 main characters were a little cookie cutter, cute, sugar sprinkles on top. Like, I like more dimension. I like more rough around the edges. I feel like they were too perfect. So I think I'm gonna settle on like 3.5 or 4 stars. I'll put on the screen when I end up rating this. I guess it depends on how much I keep thinking about it. And then I started another audiobook. Lynn Painter, who's one of my all-time favorite authors, her new contemporary adult romance, First and Forever, I think it's called. Here's the thing, and I'll make this brief. I love Lynn Painter. Her young adult books are god tier, favorite of all time. I own them in hardback. I don't own Fake Skating yet, but you bet your ass I will. Her young adult books are amazing, will never disappoint. She writes young adult contemporary romance better than any adult woman I've ever met in my life. Like, yeah, she inserts a lot of pop culture references and a lot of Taylor Swift stuff. I don't care. I'm the intended audience and I eat that shit up. Her adult romances are a little lacking. I've read several of hers. I'll just put the covers on the screen because who has the time to talk about it? They just don't hit as much as her young adult. Young adult is her niche. It's where she thrives. It's what she's really good at, in my opinion. I will read her adult romances just out of loyalty for her, because I'm obsessed with her as an author and I'll read everything she writes. I just don't love her adult romances as much, and I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, guys. I'm considering DNFing First and Forever by Lynn Painter. I'm 26% into the audio, and it has a trope that I hate. I don't think it's a spoiler because you know it from the very beginning. It's on the back of the book. It's fake dating, but she thinks it's real. And that just feels so mean. And it makes me feel yucky in my heart. And I just already know how it's gonna go. And I don't think I want to finish it. I hate fake dating, but when like he is having to well, that's a lie, because I love 10 Things I Hate About You with Heath Ledger. I don't like fake dating where he is fake dating her for publicity, but she doesn't know and she thinks it's real. That makes me sad. So I'll let y'all know tomorrow. I'm gonna read like maybe a chapter or 2 in this and fall asleep. Remember when we went 2 weeks without caffeine? I'm back on my same old bullshit. This is my 2nd day in a row getting a mango pineapple refresher from Dunkin'. But I didn't get it with green tea this time. I've been getting it with lemonade. Obsessed. Actually, no. I think it's my 4th day in a row because I got one on Saturday. I got one on Sunday. I got one on Monday. I got one on Tuesday. Yeah. So we are fully addicted. We fully have a problem. I was 36% into First and Forever by Lynn Painter, and I just returned it to Libby. Y'all, life is too short, and there are too many good books for me to waste my time reading a book I'm not enjoying. The first strike with First and Forever was that it was fake dating, but only on his end. She thought he was really asking her out, and it was a real date. And I know she's gonna find out that it wasn't real. And also, he's an NFL football player, and she's a nobody. So she's already insecure about, like, why would he ask me out? Ooh, that gives me a visceral reaction. I don't like fake dating when only one party knows it's fake and the other person thinks it's real. Strike 2 was when I was listening this morning while I was walking my dog, and her dad, who she moved back home. She has 3 older brothers, mind you. She's the youngest, but she's the one who moved back in with her dad when her mom died to help take care of him. He has a cat and named Dale Earnhardt Jr., which NASCAR is a red flag for me already. And also, I'm not a huge football person, so already that's a red flag for me. And he has to take his cat to the chiropractor once a month because he has this, like, really, like, he has, like, a soul bond with this cat, okay? And he said the cat has anxiety. She carries all of her anxiety in her neck. She has to go to the chiropractor once a month to get it reset. And I'm saying she, I think the cat's a boy because its name is Dale Earnhardt Jr. I don't even want to go into all of it, but basically her dad is like, can you take Dale to the, he doesn't even ask her, he tells her, he's like, I have to go to a conference, I need you to take Dale to the chiropractor on your way to work. She's like, I can't, I'm meeting this guy at the coffee shop before work, like, I'm already running late, I can't do it. He said, you can, and you will, you need to. No. And then he's like, well, I guess I could just cancel my conference and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, you don't need to cancel your conference. And, like, he's going to take leave. And she's like, you already have your pension and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he, like, gaslights her into taking his fucking cat to the chiropractor. So then she shows up late to meet this guy. She's sweaty. She has cat hair all over her. And she's wearing a fucking cat in a backpack. Her dad gaslighting her, walking all over her, manipulating her, not respecting her boundaries whatsoever. Nope, we're done. And maybe that's gonna be part of the book, is like her learning to be more assertive and stand up for herself. I think I have such a visceral reaction because that was me at 20. Like, that was me at 24. That was me at 26. That was me at 28-ish. Letting people gaslight me. Letting people manipulate me into things I'm uncomfortable with. And not standing up for myself and having good boundaries. And I feel like I'm so far past that at this point. But I don't want to revisit it. I think it brought up a lot of past feelings for me. And I said, no, thank you. This is not good for my mental health. I'm not having a good time. Life is too short. If I have a close friend or reading buddy who reads this book and is like, oh, the ending is so good, you're going to love it, maybe I would go back and finish it. But I'm almost 40% in, and I can tell you, like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm ending at 36% on the audio. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm still physically reading How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. I lied when I said I was going to read that last night. I didn't. I started editing the video of me setting up my library, and then I fell asleep. I'm still on the same page, 133. Who knows what audiobook I'll pick up today? It's a surprise. I need to run into work, so I'm not going to talk long, but I just wanted to let y'all know that I'm about 65% into Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. I think I'm on page like 283, so I'm a little over halfway. I'm enjoying it. I think it's gonna be like a 3, maybe 4 star. Hi, I don't want to record myself because I'm feeling wildly insecure, and I haven't like been reading a whole bunch or recording the last few days because my mental health has been in the gutter. But that's my fault because I've like kind of forgot to drink water and I've been having way too much caffeine. But I had to come on really quickly and tell you that this book is such a disappointment. I'm so sad. I thought this was gonna be 4 or 5 stars, no question. I'm leaning towards a generous 3. I have 9 minutes left in the audiobook, and it's literally gonna take everything in me to listen to the last 9 minutes. I'm gonna try to do it as soon as I finish this video, but I don't want to. But I have 9 minutes left, and I'm sure part of that is the acknowledgements. I've been ready for it to be over since 60%. I'm at 97%. I just am bored. I feel like the only two characters we hear about are the two lead characters. The only characters they interact with are each other. Every other character is not well fleshed out. They are just extras in the background. There are no other like meaningful relationships fleshed out for us to see. We're just told that there are meaning relationships. So I'm kind of disappointed. I'm leaning towards a generous 3-star right now because I really enjoyed the first 60%, but ever since then I'm like, okay, I know how this goes. I'm ready for this to be done. Like, wrap it up. I don't know if I still want to continue this series. And also, controversial take, I still think that my favorite series by Elsie Silver is Gold Rush Ranch. And then obviously Chestnut Springs, I've only read the first 4 of 5 books or 5 of 6 books. I just need to read Hopeless. And then I haven't read I can't remember what the series is called, but it's like Wild Love, Wild Card, Wild whatever the fuck. This is the first book in what's going to be her Emerald Springs, Emerald Lake series. And obviously I know who the other interconnected standalones are going to be about. They're going to be about Emmett's siblings, because they're the only characters who got any kind of fleshed out character development. And I know it's just because they're going to be featured in future books. I also just like, I'm trying to decide if I like interconnected standalones or if it's just like laziness. I don't want to be mean and I don't want to get canceled. I don't know if it's just like laziness on the part of authors that they're like, I already have this setting fleshed out and characters introduced, so I don't have to do that much work. It's like a lot easier to just like do these spin-offs of other characters because the backstory is already done and there. I don't know if I like it. I like it when it's well done, but I think I would prefer just like a straight up like duology or trilogy or a standalone. I don't know how I feel about interconnected standalones because it's feeling like Cheap Tricks at this point. Also, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt because my mental health is in the absolute gutter. You can probably tell by my manic energy. I'm gonna wash my face, make my bed. I have fresh sheets to put on. And I think I'm just gonna try to avoid caffeine and social media and go to bed early. We're gonna try to have a better day tomorrow. That's all, bye. My mental health is still in the gutter, but not as bad as it was yesterday or the day before. I read like 50 pages in How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates last night. Here's what I'll say. If he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to show you his affection, he would use the intestines of his previous victim to spell out your name inside of a heart. And you know what? He's making it very clear what his intentions are. To either woo you or kill you. But I don't have that on audio, and I finished Fever Dream yesterday. Thank goodness, I was so ready for that to be over. I'm gonna start a new audio while I clean today. This is highly anticipated. I got this book a few weeks ago from a local romance-only bookstore. I also bought Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune because I couldn't get either of them through the library or Libby, but then I ended up getting this one on audio on Libby. I don't have time to tell you what it's about right now, so I'll update y'all later. I'm a little more than halfway done in How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates, and I'm having so much more fun than I thought. I'm also, like, I realized I started it last Saturday or Sunday, and today's Sunday, so it's been like a week, but I'm just like having fun taking my time, going slow, and I just want to sit here and read it for the rest of the night. Like, I'm obsessed. I'm having a harder time getting into Beneath by Ariel Sullivan than I thought I would. Just because I followed Tori Between Pages, who I love her taste, and she said this is amazing, 5-star book. Having a hard time getting into it, but I think it's because my mental health hasn't been great, so I have just like a kind of cynical view towards books right now, and I'm a little tired of like dystopian and fantasy not really even fantasy, like romantasy FMCs, just like immediately being good at like throwing knives and shooting guns and being taught how to fight and like all those tropes. They're an orphan and they're angry. I want to finish this today. I'm a little more than halfway. I have like 150 pages left, so I probably won't finish tonight because I'm a slow reader, but I might, who knows. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now because this vlog's probably already super long, and I'm gonna jump into this book, which I'm having such a good time with. Y'all. I just finished How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates, and I'm like pleasantly surprised at how much I like that. I've been like in the mood to experiment with different genres, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it goes terribly. That was like, I enjoyed that. It wasn't too scary because it was funny, and there was the rom-com aspect, and it's in first person POV, and the female main character, she is like an expert in both rom-coms and slasher films, and she's actually like working on her PhD and writing her dissertation on like the nexus or overlap between those two genres. And so it kind of like helped me to not be scared that all throughout the book she's saying, okay, now we're entering the third act. Not that she knew what was going to happen, but she was like, if this were a movie, then like, and like she has like rules for like what you don't do and don't do in a slasher. And like, you know, when something would happen, she would like think about movies she's seen, and like, I don't know, it kind of just brought some, not levity, but I think it anchored me in reality and kept me from being too scared. That was perfect because I can't read a slasher. I can't watch a scary movie. Like all of the scary movies she talked about in this book, the main character, because she loves scary movies, won't ever watch them. But that book was so fun. It really was a rom-com and a slasher, the perfect combination. She literally said, why can't we do both? Why can't I be both? She said, I am both a leading lady and a final girl. Watch me be both. I was wrong about who I thought the killer was, and that's all I'll say. If you are scared of scary movies and slashers like me, I think this would work for you. I'm like so happy with it that I'm like, is it 5 stars? But I'm like, no, it's not a 5-star book for me. I think it's at least a 4, if not 4.25, 4.5. And also ratings feel so freaking arbitrary. Like, who cares if it's a 4.25 or a 4.5? Like, because I can't decide if it's a 4 or a 5, and what does that even mean within this genre? Because I've never read a book in this genre before, so how does it compare to its contemporaries? I don't know. I'm either gonna give it a 4 or a 4.5, and I don't know if I'll write a review. I haven't written a review for like the last 5 books I've finished. I've just not been in the mood. I just want to read books and not review them. I'm sorry, but I do want to talk about them. I like talking about them, but for some reason I'm such a perfectionist, and I think it's also because I'm an editor. I can't just write something. I write something and then I need to like fix it or reorganize it, or I'm like, that's not good enough, or I need to give them more information about the character development or why I felt this way about this plot device being used here. So then sometimes I panic and I just put like one liner, like, he's a 10 but he has a tail, like, and that's not helpful either. So I just sometimes panic and like don't write reviews. Also, I'm including this with new releases. I think this actually came out in February, so it's technically not like a new release, but I would say within the last 6 months, even like within the last year, I feel like is a new release, so we're including it. Sorry. Bad news, guys. I'm finding being in the head of the female protagonist in Beneath by Ariel Sullivan insufferable, to the point where I'm like, do I DNF? Because I just can't stand her. And I don't believe that women aren't allowed to be angry. Women are allowed to be angry, especially when you've lost everyone and everything you've ever cared about. You're allowed to be angry. But I don't think that that anger, no matter how valid, is a reason to treat people who are being kind to you like garbage. I think that like it's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to treat people like shit because you're angry. I also just like value resilience, and I don't think it's anti-feminist to be kind even when you're hurting. I think in fact that's like strong and brave. So I'm just over it. So I don't know, I'm having a weird relationship with this book. I really want to DNF. I'm gonna give it a couple more hours today. I also think the issue might be that I'm irritable, but I might DNF, which sucks because I bought a hard copy from the bookstore of this book because I was so confident I was gonna love it. Bye. Good morning. I am feeling so tired and irritable this morning. I think it's still like mental health stuff, hormonal stuff, I don't know. But I did decide, since I'm such a mood reader and my mood affects my reading experience, it wasn't fair to continue with Beneath by Ariel Sullivan when I obviously was not feeling it. So I've decided to soft DNF it. I might permanently DNF it. I might pick it up later, to be decided. I also realized that Ariel Sullivan's FMCs might just not be for me because I don't mind an angry FMC or MMC protagonist in general. What I don't like is when they're angry and they want to rebel and they do it in stupid ways and not strategic ways. Like, do it in smart ways. And I realized that Ariel Sullivan did this in Conform as well, her other book that I've read. That FMC, she was angry and wanted to rebel, but she did it without thinking and no strategy, and that really bothered me, and that's what kept that book from being a 5-star for me. Obviously, there's a corrupt system of government. There was a rebellion, and they specifically said the best way you can help us is by getting information, so by being nice to this one guy to get information out of him. And she couldn't even do that. She would be so mean to him, and that to me just shows like no self-control. I don't mind if you're angry and like you want to take down the man, sure, but in that instance, the best way to do it is to fake it and be nice to him, get information from him, give it to the resistance so that they can fight back. When your anger shows up in petulant ways with no forethought or scheme or plan, no cunning, I don't like that. In this book, Beneath by Ariel Sullivan, it takes place after like nuclear fallout from like World War III or whatever. Everyone's having to live underground because of the radiation poisoning and everything. And the female main character, Sasha, she's lost her parents, her siblings, everyone she loves. She's now living underground. She was being a medic because, I don't know, so far this is just dystopian, but I have a feeling it could go fantasy because she is impermeable to disease. Like, she can't get sick, and so they have her work as a medic and sit with people who are dying who no one else will help because they don't want to get their germs. So they call her Death's Angel because she tends to people who are dying. Long story short, she's recruited against her will into this military unit that is going on a top secret mission above the surface. She's angry, because understandably so. Imagine how angry we are about how corrupt the world is and government is right now, and then imagine that results in nuclear fallout. You lose everyone you love. You're having to live underground in this really strict society with limited resources that are running out. But I think what's happening here and what happened in Conform is very passive plot, or the plot is happening to the female main characters. They're not making decisions. They're not being strategic. They're not making a plan. They're just letting things happen to them. And I don't like that. I like an FMC who's got a plan. Give me an Aelin Galathinius, please. I want an FMC who, it's okay for her to be angry. It's okay for her to want to fight back against injustice. In fact, I love that. But you need to have a fucking plan. I don't think I like books where like things are just happening to the characters. I like when the characters are making things happen. So I am going to DNF for that for now. We'll call it a soft DNF because I might pick it back up when I'm in a different mood. I, unfortunately, because I'm so in the mood for dystopian to come back around. It's so nostalgic for me. It reminds me of The Hunger Games, Shatter Me, The Maze Runner, Delirium, Divergent, all of these dystopian books I loved when I was in middle and high school. I'm craving that, but what I found recently is like dystopian books have just been very disappointing for me. I think they're lacking in both world building and character development and in the romance. So I think that I would rather just read romances and then read high fantasy or high dystopian with little to no romance, or like a subplot of romance, and get good romance and get good world building. But I just don't know if there's an author out there who's doing both well, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna soft DNF that for now, and I think this is gonna be the end of this vlog, and I hate to end it on a sour note with a DNF, but that's just the reality of it. I was planning to finish Beneath today, but I just couldn't get past 22% in the physical or audio, so might come back to that later, might be done permanently. But yeah, thank you for spending a couple of weeks with me while I read new releases. We have some 5 stars, 4 stars. We have books that made me cry, books that made me laugh, books that made me gasp and leave my friends audio messages with my reactions, and we had a book that I just didn't even care to finish. So in the future, you're probably going to see me reading a good bit of romance and a good bit of high fantasy and dystopian with little to no romance. But again, I'm a mood reader, and I might just be in a bad mood. So who knows? Anyways, thank you for hanging out while I talk about what I'm reading. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment what you are currently reading. And also, if you have any recs for good quality dystopian, that if it does romance, it does it well, but there's like good world building, and I want a protagonist who is clever and cunning and making decisions. I'm thinking like Vis from The Will of the Many or Darrow from Red Rising. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.